First of all, I'd like to preface this with it's absolute bullshit. Dark Knight's full of crap.
Laver du en, Scott?
And we definitely did not come up with this.
Jeg vælger den
Why don't you
sidste.
explain-
Hvad står der
can you
på
explain
den
your logic
sidste?
here?
Det ved jeg ikke, det er dig, der har den åben.
Hvad staver E-K-S-P-E-R-T?
Ekspert, det lyder som om du skal sætte den op på lidt.
And Bookmark and Grant at the same time were like, why don't we just delay Legos for
Oh.
a week? And then Tice was like, oh, that'd
Er du klar til at trykke på den grønne bil?
And I was like,
Det tror jeg.
alright. And I just went along with it.
Og
So,
Ja.
boom.
Not really. We were just thinking about everybody knows if this goes to week 3,
Huh?
if this goes to double Legos, and Liquid kill it the day of double legendaries, while Echo do not have them.
Hvad siger du?
Oh, I can't wait.
It will just be the biggest shite storm.
Oh.
And the sad part is, it shouldn't diminish any guild's effort. Like it
Men
really
her
shouldn't.
må du...
It'll get
Sådan.
punished. It'll get
Hvis at de ikke kan se dig,
this
så er det mig, der skyder med en
is
sniper.
really unfortunate. So, I don't know. Like,
Så jeg kan
it's
finde
not
en
even
sniper.
just the NAEU battle. You got,
Sniper.
what did I say, 4 CN guilds in the race at the moment too that are on 2-day disadvantage. So they've got a chance to finish the highest of CN guilds ever finished in Race for World first. And if it pushes through to reset and double Legos, they will be
sniper.
absolutely gaped by that, and
Oh.
that's not very cool either. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. And the problem with that is we saw Rygalon nerfs come out today. And you know, like 6% HP nerf to Rygalon, 25% nerf on the orbs. In the singularity phase, his damage has been nerfed as well. Some of his abilities like Stellar Decay and Stellar Shroud. So it kind of feels like Blizzard is pushing
Har to guns.
Raid along. It kind of felt that way with Andrew, and they kind of pushed him down. Is 1.5 days enough to kill the jailer? And will people be happy with that? What do you boys think?
Brent?
There's a tail in my face. Yeah, no, I don't like it. I don't want it.
Ja.
I want the race to end any means necessary before reset. Even if I have to go in and just punch the jailer in the back of the head myself. Like, it's not fun. But deep down, and we talked about this too, and Tyson said it, so I'm gonna drop him here. Deep down, I kind of want to see what happens if it does happen. I just want to look at Twitter. I want to get some popcorn. I want to sit there and watch everyone lose their minds. It would be fun.
I mean, right now, let's just say Echo's in front, right? Echo's in front until
Skal lige nu
reset.
frem.
Reset happens.
En
Liquid
sniper.
get double Lego. And
they
Liquid
just
just
kill the
go
boss in
in.
an hour.
You just go in and stomp it, dude. Could you
Just 1 hour, he's
imagine?
dead. 20 pools on jailer.
The only saving grace at the moment is, and we spoke about this too, God, we spoke about a lot of stuff without you chat, but it's okay, we're visiting it now again. We don't know what the jailer's like on Mythic. We have no idea. Like, there's new abilities in there that are different from Heroic.
Derfor løfter mig og
We
prøvet
have
det
no
mange
idea
gange.
if there's a Mythic only phase. So we have because again, we brought up the topic of if it gets to, you know, double Legos, it's a significant power boost across your whole raid. Does that mean they extend and just go for the jailer, or is the jailer going to be something that's, you know, 300 pull Charlie and you re-clear again because like of the we have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah, and like this would just fan the flames of the whole EU versus NA lockout stuff, right? But this would just turn it into overdrive. I would personally not like to see it as much as interesting it would be to just, you know, see what Twitter's like for the first 24 hours or whatnot.
Do you think it could be catalyst for
Yeah,
change,
well, I
Ty?
just
Do you
heard
think
them.
if this happened
Yay.
and this
Yeah.
like exploded,
Great point.
Yeah,
do you think it could be?
yeah, absolutely. If that is the case, let's go for it. Let's do it. Let's watch the world burn, dude.
And let's be real. Echo have some emotional players when it comes to Twitter.
They sure.
And I'd really
Bare
love
det
to
er
see
mig, der
what they
skyder
come
dem
out
der
with.
løse her, som
It
der
would
ikke
be
kan
a
se
lot
dig.
of fun to see the anger. That's the song I just wrote just for you right there, Dad, mate. No, we...
Hvis man vil have noget her lyd, så skal man tage det. Man kan ikke bare sidde og
This
vente på at
ends
håbe, man
before
får.
reset or goes deep it. This
Life
ends before
lesson
reset in an
right
ideal world.
there.
Second ideal world, it goes days into it, although I'm knackered, so I'd rather
Vi skal
not.
trykke på den her pumpe her.
But yeah, this is gonna
Det
be
ved jeg godt, men jeg holder
a
bare
big few days
lidt
in
i
the race
afstand.
war. It's maybe the biggest few days in history. One of the tightest races ever.
Slut.
Yep.
Kom og giv mig
I
kram
think
lige
it's
om før det vil se.
realistic we see another 5 or 6 guilds on the jailer when push comes to shove.
Nej,
It's gonna come down to
Jeg
that,
har
you
en
know,
jockey.
old western shootout where whoever performs best
Yeah.
on the day wins the race, unless we're bent over and gaped, I believe is the word you used, by double legendaries.
I actually never bought. I just want to
Yeah.
preface here. I
Jeg
never
skal bare
bought
rode af dem.
over into the.
Well, I don't know who,
Det er bare
this
hovedet, der
who
fungerer.
it is, but you said the G word, and I went from there.
Ja,
Before we get started, I do want to take a chance to thank every one of our partners, and we'll come back to you, Tyson. Otherwise, I'm going to get yelled at by the voices in my head. So first of all, let's talk about Champion, because Method has partnered up with Champion to create some exclusive merch that will only be available now for 11 more days. That's not too many days. So if we can get that brought up on the screen here, I'm actually just going to post
Jeg har den
that.
her.
ja.
Der er en tilbage.
So you've seen Scott wearing this nearly every day, Sco. No, we're really good friends. I can call him Scott. It's a big deal like that. So we partnered up with Champion for this exclusive merch. It's only available until the end of the month. You can type exclamation mark
Let's get 'em.
Champion in
Hvor fanden er
the
min hjælp
chat
hen?
in order to get some more
Zoe,
info
come
on
on,
that.
man.
Madeline
Skyd.
always on the
Hjælp.
ball.
Gør noget.
Coming up next, LF.group.
Hold
You
op.
can check them out by typing exclamation mark
eneste,
LFG
der
in the
prøver
chat.
at
It's a tool
hjælpe
that you
Ej,
can
men
use to
der-
search for
ej,
other
ja.
players to play with in the content that you want to play when you want to
Jeg havde
play.
en
With lots of
Zoe
amazing
med mig,
customization
og
options
vildt
when creating a
lå at
party
dø.
with LF.group, you can be sure you're going to create a party that will succeed.
Tak.
jeg
Godt.
prøvede det sammen. Der var næsten ingen, der gad at hjælpe mig.
Find links to
Super.
everything you need. And now one of my
det er lige
Australian
meget.
boys are going to talk about
Jeg er lige.
Mens jeg healer.
Save my voice.
Your Tice.
Me?
Yeah.
WF.gg. I don't have my CTAs
Oh, yeah.
up, so I'm just gonna
Wing it.
go off.
Wing
Just
it.
gonna wing it. RWFGG. My morning newspaper, the thing that I wake up to, the thing that I have a look the first thing in the
Kom
morning.
herover alle sammen.
And I look at basically
Mads,
the,
jeg skal til
the
det.
daily wrap up. It's the thing that I look at. It's
Alle
it's
sammen gør
my
jeg klar.
number one go-to in the
Herover.
morning because it basically tells you
Okay.
everything that's gone on while
Nu siger jeg
I
til, når
have
alle
been
er klar.
asleep. And
Vi
being
er klar.
Australian, everything happens while I'm asleep. So yeah. RWF.gg, find it on the Apple Store and Google Play, exclamation point, RWFGG, I think it's just RWF in the
Okay.
chat. You can personalize personalize your notifications. I do, but also remember to turn them off while you're asleep because they will wake you up.
That's a good point. You can get it on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, rwf.gg, or go to the website that Darren just linked in the chat. It's really amazing. It is great. Like as I said, I was laying in bed last night when I saw that Echo. When Liquid had caught up and killed the Lords of Dread, and that's how I get all of my information. So pretty cool. Finally, we have our widget partners, Warcraft Logs and Raider.io, and we're so happy to have partnered up with both of them to give us all of the analytics that we need here for the race to work first. Exclamation mark RIO and exclamation mark WCL. I forgot how to spell for a second. For all of the info there. And then finally, we have the charity that we're so happy to be partnered with, and we're excited to be raising money for Safe in Our World because it's an amazing cause. They're a charity that strives to create and foster worldwide mental health awareness within the video game industry, to eliminate the stigma surrounding mental health, to make it a natural topic of conversation, to create the dialogue surrounding it, so people are not afraid to reach out for help if they need it. If you want to support them, please type exclamation mark donate or exclamation mark charity in the chat. and it will take you straight to the donation page or to get all the information. I did a lot of research actually on this charity, as I do before I agree to support any charity, and as Method do too, because you know there's always rumors of some dodgy ones, and they're not. I can tell you that they're not a dodgy. They're really, really great. The money goes straight into the things that it needs to go into.
Okay, nu skal vi
Staff are
så.
good. I've been enjoying speaking to Rosie. I got an email, and to add to that, I'm about to release some merch to support them as well, which is going to be hilarious. I've literally been doing it as started, just gone live. I'll tweet it out. It's really dumb. I never wanted merch. I think it's silly for someone like me to have merch. But do it for charity. We can. I'll bend the rules.
Get behind that. We can get behind that.
Stream's coming up, lads. What else do we have to talk about? Ah, but my tongue.
I just want to bring us a question in chat got thrown out from a query. So, in regards to why can't we count the time since the own release, as in, you know, the release from NA's race and EU's race, as in a cumulative total of days to kill. So that's kind of been thrown out before. But the reality is that nobody cares. So, you know, there's like a bit where NA's or EU have killed the boss in less hours than NA, but basically nobody cares. So
yeah, and I saw another point in chat as well, like why can't there be a gentleman's agreement about just not using the double Lego? You have to be out of your mind. Some of them for them to make that agreement, even if say let's say Echo and you know the planets align and Echo and Liquid make that agreement.
Guess what?
To say
Pieces,
that the China, yeah, exactly. Pieces and even the Chinese guilds, they probably have not care whatsoever. And I'm on their side. I wouldn't do it either. I'd be looking for any. Yeah, it's a race, and they're looking for any advantage possible.
Too much at stake.
Totally respect that. Yep.
Talking sponsors, like even the ability to draft better players. You know, like it's extremely important where you finish here, especially if you're trying to bolster a roster. The higher you finish, the better players you're going to attract to your roster for the next tier and things like that. Like people want to go to guilds where they're going to have a shot at, you know, winning a world first eventually, and that's why it's so important. So I don't think you'll ever see a gentleman's agreement, as Tice was saying. It's just too much at stake, and people want to win too, you know, like they're all gamers, they all want to win.
Yeah, they do, and that's, as you said, it's massively important. If Blizzard aren't going to do it, no one else is going to do it. So we are going to deal with the hand that is dealt to us. We're going to get those double legendaries. We're going to do a whole bunch more damage, and hope be enough to make this a little easier. But also, it's tuned hard enough towards the very end of the race that it isn't going to just fall over in that day one. And that Echo and Method and Pieces and the Chinese guilds even, who are 2 days behind, may I add, have a chance to catch up, because we see, you know, how good Skyline and us and JTH, thank you, JTH, how well these guilds have been playing, and that is on a 48 hour, well not quite, but it's a 2-day disadvantage as well. So we're all, I think it's fair to say we'd all love a global reset.
Oh yeah.
How does it work though? Like, where would you? This is the only, like, don't get me wrong. We do it for release, right? But release is a bit different if it releases at like, I don't know, 4 a.m. in your home. Like, and generally it's really good in Australia. It's like 8 a.m. for us, Tice, when the extra releases. So we're just like, all right, sweet. But I don't know how you place it at a time where
there's never going to be, no one's, you know, not everyone will ever be happy, but you have to realise the degeneracy of the players and go, you really sit at 4 a.m, the players are up at 3 a.m, and they'll do one long day and then go back to a regular schedule after that, I imagine. Hello.
Not to the greatest of scales compared to, you know, the original first, but like it's worth mentioning that TBC do this. So they have a global scale. They have their own little race as well. It's a big enough event, not as big as this one, but hey, there's a lot of eyeballs on that one, and they tend to do it just fine with no hiccups. So I don't understand why. I think it was like the old argument was when they were questioned it back in like, I think it was Legion, they kind of asked the question and they didn't want to feel like, you know, more casual guilds to feel obligated to play upon release, and I think that was the reasoning behind it, but I would like to hear something more updated from them.
Is there an issue, do you think, in regards to being able to balance out encounters in terms of like TBC for a global release, you're releasing bosses that we already know how they work and things like that, whereas
very possibly
with this one there's not, and to have crews to work all the regions at once to balance. This is just pure speculation and spitball, but like I'm trying to think of excuses for them in regards to why you wouldn't, because I kind of like there's a part of me that would think if they thought this was a possible thing and something that was really good for the race to World First, like we've seen World of Warcraft on Twitter have been really involved with the race for World First this year. Like they've been smashing out tweets congratulating guilds. Like Ybarra has been doing it, so they're involved in it. They like it, they're supporting it. There's a part of me that thinks that if they could do it and it was good, that I want to believe they would. So there has to be something.
I just hope it's just not in the too hard basket and they don't really. I like to think, I'd like to hope that they're at least, you know, trying to make it work, thinking about it, rather than just too hard basket, let's just not worry about it.
I feel like if anyone is, it probably is Mike. He's the most active we've ever seen in the community in terms of leaders.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I don't know if you guys agree, obviously he's also a high level player himself, so he gets it.
It's good to have someone involved high up that's a banger. Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm on par. There was a question in the chat about Skyline and Mythic Plus. So Tice brought this up the other day and people didn't believe him, but he was absolutely spot bang on. So Skyline were using the Mythic Plus thing where, and this is clever, okay? This is full blame to them. I think people are angry about it because they didn't think about this kind of deal, and then I guess because it doesn't work. Basically, they've got a Mythic Plus, they start a key, the raider leaves, and they finish it, and they pick their loot up in the mailbox. It wasn't fixed on the Chinese client. So Tice mentioned the other day that they're playing on different clients, different regions. It doesn't work on NA, don't believe it works on EU, still works on CN. So they're just taking advantage of something that works on their client, and that's big brain.
Yep.
Very. So, looks like we're actually into a raid here. We have players, which is a good number of players for a 20-man raid. It's at least as many as we want. So, here we go. We can get a look here. I'm sure that we have tactics discussions. I'm just trying to see if anything changed. And by the looks of it, nothing has changed compositionally. As we said here, looks like some weak core updates coming. That's why we're full screen. So this is the stuff
you can't see this.
This is the stuff that's probably been happening overnight. Yeah. This is the stuff I believe will have been worked on outside of the raid times. There will have been analysts and WeCore developers for Method who are going to be kicking ass and making sure that these WeCores are working that more efficiently. Specifically a lot of stuff with cooldowns. We've seen a real development. I got to speak with Viserio, the guy who does all of those like spreadsheets for healers that automatically imports to your notes and then tells you when to use a cooldown, and it's all like automated and super cool. That sort of stuff is really growing in the Race to World First, and I think that's a major development to come, is these notes that tell you when to use your cooldowns, when to do everything, because they can actually even interface with like phasing and stuff like that if you phase at a different time. They're really, really intelligent. And we've been seeing a lot of them.
Have you seen the ones that have come back out on Lords of Dread, like the old school AVR encounter ones, like we used to have on Professor Putricide and things like that? So for the carrion cloud, how you get that feared off you, the weak aura that's been developed has the green arrows shooting off on the screen of which way the puddles are going to go.
Sick.
So like weak aura development has gone to a whole new world the WeCore developers for this raid, and you can hear it like on comms and things like that. Someone will just say, I need a WeCore that tells me like XYZ. Like there'll be WeCores for which way to take stars, and then the analyst will just make that WeCore. They are absolutely bang on.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it is a whole new language, Callie. You're correct there, and we're seeing that language, I don't know, really get developed further and really pushed now to its limits. And the cool thing about that is, because of that, Blizzard are making the bosses tougher. Because of the use of third-party tools to improve. And I don't know what you think about this, Tyson. Like, if we look back, even, let's say, Professor Putricide and the Lich King, back then, they weren't as hard as this, right?
Nowhere near. But it just, yeah, it shows where we've come, and it's amazing. I would assume this is why maybe the Raiders got maybe an extra hour's sleep or something, so they can get this stuff kind of worked on. So while some of the Raiders have had an extra sleep in, particularly maybe the analysts haven't, which as we're finding as we morph into what the race of 2-1 is growing into. They are becoming just as important as the Raiders themselves, because I've said this time and time again, if you're up there and you're competing for that first podium finish, or even if you're looking in the top 10, I would assume that you would have some sort of analyst team working behind the scenes just as hard as the Raiders themselves.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm with you there. Alright, Dark Mac, we're going to see some pulls pretty soon. I think as we start the day, we can talk about the boss and its mechanics specifically, and then we can chat shit for a couple of hours, and we can go to bed.
Bang on, bro.
Actually, I before we jump in, because if you're just joining us, we're about to start, doing some Andy pulls, and I feel like the team's probably really comfortable at the start. Looks like we're going to get to another pull in about 15 seconds. And it's really that groom reflection where we're hoping to get to. So I would assume that we'd, maybe, who knows, maybe we'll get there on our first pull of the day. But, it's first pull of the day, it doesn't really count. So we'll see how we go as we pull into it now. But I did have one discussion point I wanted to make is, if we were to go to, the third week of this race, one thing that I have noticed that actually might play into Ethid's favour is the fact that they are still remaining at home, playing remotely. Whereas a lot of these other teams, they're in their own venue, and I'm hearing that was kind of for like a 2-week period. So everyone's got to travel home. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing, and everyone's got to travel home, and that's a good, maybe 5 to 8 hours there of just they're not progging. So it's something worth mentioning.
Yeah, that's a great point to make.
It is a very good point to make. Yeah, we are of course fully remote. Other guilds will have to travel, and that's going to be some time lost. Of course, I don't know how long these venues booked for. I know for like Liquid, for example, it's their venue, right?
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware. So if it's your venue, I mean, maybe they have other stuff planned to use that venue, but if they don't, they can stay. It comes down to the players, not all of them have to stay, I imagine.
Yep.
These guys, there are very few players, unless they're streamers, that do this full time, I guess. I'm not too sure myself. I know Method have like 3 or 4 players who have to go back to work in a couple of days, so we're, I wonder how many sick days they've got, because we're going to use them.
There's actually, I've just been hyper focused on this pool at the moment. Actually, so a lot of the guilds really struggled on Anduin with the Kingsmore and Hunger phases, which Method just did they just had their first group go down. Every player that stands in this arc, when they go down, has a soul spawn up the top. And what you have to do is you have to pace killing the souls, because every time you kill a soul, it'll bring one of the players that went down to this bottom realm back up to the top. But you want to kill all of these adds down the bottom for the willpower to Anduin, so you get the 90% DR and the damage buff when you're in the intermission. But you can't let the adds up top get any of their cast off. So you can see the ERT note that's over on the side of the screen has all their stun orders set up, and they'll just be using stun, pretty much just DRing all of their global stuns
Perfect start,
to kill those souls. And they've done 2 of those, absolutely perfect. So this is a really nice opening pull here. They want to phase Anduin into intermission at around 85% area if they can, and they're at 86 at the moment, and they're about to phase.
Jeg er
100
klar.
willpower.
Jeg har sat alle.
Straight off the bat.
Og jeg mener
first pull.
alle dunkene i.
It's really
Okay,
nice.
hvor er jeg
I mean,
henne
that
nu?
would be
Er jeg-
low. That's 86.2%. So
Oj!
that's a
Oj!
really nice opening pull. The difference in Mythic here, if you've never seen this
Jeg har en
fight
meget
on
sur
Mythic, is there are
karriere
walls
efter.
straight off the bat in Mythic. So in Heroic, you'll get the wall on 2. In this, you get 8 waves of walls straight off the bat. And the monstrous, I don't know what the monstrous soul ad will start casting at 40%. It's giant necrotic blast, and you'll need to make sure that you kill it. Otherwise,
Jeg
it's
har
pretty much a
30
guaranteed
her.
wipe. But
Vil du
again,
gerne
they have
heale
no
mig?
problem in working through that ad whatsoever. Dodging these waves here. They're looking really comfortable in that. This is first pull of the day.
First pull of the day. Best pull of the day? That isn't right. So Tyson, one thing we've struggled with a bit here is the walls are fully RNG to my knowledge. They can have one spawn right next to them here, and if that happens whilst the monstrous soul is in its explosive phase, and your mana is split, you can be in trouble. You can see this wall here isn't pleasant. Again, you may have to go the wrong way. That wall spawn was actually perfect for them, because everyone had moved. This is a pretty good phase, but talk to me a little bit about what's coming next now as we move out of this into phase 2, so to speak.
Yeah, so phase 2 is the toughy one. This one we'll start getting some grim reflections that we'll need to we'll need to get down ASAP. Now you can CC. I believe they used to be DR'd for CC, but that's now been removed. You can now hard CC them. And then it's just about AoE getting them down, just damaging them down as they will be casting. And if they were to get this cast off, as now we can see the Grim Reflections up now, you do need to kick them as well, because if they are to get that cast off, it's basically it's a raid wipe fear, and then everyone's dead, basically.
Yeah.
So even where we're at now, we saw at the end of yesterday, Method got this part pretty well. But what happens once we start getting to that last one, that's when Anduin comes back out, and we Kingsmourn, which is that down phase, which would mean that our team only has half the damage to deal with these grim reflections, which is really the hill that we're trying to climb at the moment.
This is a good start. The first Kingsmourn hungers, as you can see here, they'll only typically be 1 or 1.5, depending on
Kan du se den røde pil, der står forlad denne lobby?
To deal with. Of course, this does mean less stuns, less CCs, because you've already used some of them in an emergency to deal with the fear ads. But we can't let any of these casts go off. If any of these casts go off, as we said, a player dies. This is a really good pull here, Dark. I don't want to be the one to jinx it, but we should be breaking the players out now as that healing reduction shield comes out. We should have a big ramp, hopefully, from our Disc Priest. We have lost one player by the looks of it. Who is it? Can we see? Is it Dan?
I can't actually see on this.
It's Dan. It was Dan.
Dan. Yeah, so if you're not aware as well, chat, that big healing absorption, that's the Befouled barrier, so they all have to stack in that to heal the absorb off, so you see everybody stacking into that. So we lost one person, but it's still okay. This is the second Kingsmourn hunger, so there's only 2 Kingsmourn hungers in each phase, so basically if they could get through this with the Grim Reflections upstairs, which they can't.
Jeg kunne ikke, der var ikke noget jeg kunne join, men det kom bagefter.
Progress into another intermission. They'll nuke Anduin, they'll nuke the king down some more, which will funnel into Anduin, and then it's just phase 3 from there. So they're kind of on a real tipping point here. It was interesting though. I think they came out of their phase 1 at around 55% area, I think. 56. They need to be a lot lower than that. So
I've seen kill. I think Liquid killed it.
Came out at 47%.
47?
Yeah, so their phase 2 ended at 47%, I believe. No, that would have been when they went down. Sorry, so
that would have been when they went down.
So I don't know if 57 or 56 is on track to take 10% in 2 Kings. It's not bad, but they were
what you want.
Yeah, they're managing that really well. It just comes down, like, your ads are going to spawn. You can see the markers here for Grim Reflections. Like, they're always going to spawn 12, 3, 6, 9. So they need to just have their CC go out. And they've got hard CC that works. Like, you've got the Druids in here, Cyclone works. craps work. They just banishes work. It's just about trying to control those and being able to kill them. I think Cruella is. I think we are actually.
We are. Yeah, Darren. I don't know if you can see, but we're frozen out.
It's just about trying to be able to navigate that and kill them. But great pull for the first one of the day. Absolutely.
Yeah, really solid production error. The fact that we seem to have frozen. We'll get that fixed as soon as possible here. You can still hear us. Yeah, we're not moving at all, mate. The screen share at least isn't. I don't know if it's on stream.
No, remote probably.
There we go. Okay, that's fine. That's that froze. We'll get that fixed up quickly. No worries. Yeah, great first pull of the day. You really, I've talked about this a lot, but the most important thing is that you get to the point you need to improve on, the point you need to practice in. And that's what they got to do. They got to practice that second set of grim reflections in phase 2. Not by much, but they got to see it. They got to adjust some things. So that's pretty cool. Here we go. We're getting back into it, and I'm sure we'll have another pool already kicking off here. As Anderwin down to 95%. Method on the second pull of the day, pull 142 in total. Looking to improve on that 52.46.
Yeah, and it kind of sets the tone as well for the team. Like we said, this is kind of nut up or shut up for matches today. So they're looking to make some strong progress on Anduin, and let's face it, they're trying to get them down to today. So that sets such a good tone for the team to mean they're here to get the job done.
They're really they're right on the hill of tipping over too, because this is one of the areas where so many people's struggle. So you can see that was Corella's stun, AoE stun there for that cast, because you can see those souls up top where they're casting. If they start to cast, it's pretty much game over. So at the end of every single one of those soul casts, you need to make sure you have your AoE stuns going off, like your Shadow Furies, solar beams. No, you can only stun them though. Sorry, you can't interrupt them. So leg sweep, and that's one of the other reasons too. So originally, I kind of wondered if we'd see double Blood DK on this fight. However, the problem is Blood DK brings no AoE stun. So the reason that you bring a Brewmaster is so fantastic is because not only is a Brewmaster a fantastic tank just for progression based anyway, but you can leg sweep on the souls, but you can also para one of the Grim Reflections as well if you group Laxacidi in that regard, whereas DK has nothing to bring for that outside of grip. And if you already bring one Blood DK, you just bring a Frost DK for a bunch of damage intermission. They play A-Bomb Limb anyway, and you get another source of grip through that anyway. So that absolutely made sense from Method's perspective in that you can see down here there's this big add Anduins to spare, and then there's a bunch of little Anduin doubts, and they just group them all in and nuke them down. In Heroic you'd see people in Heroic progression groups and pugs, you watch people CC them, they just rip them up and absolutely burn them down. The healers down there will be dispelling it. The idea is you just want to pump as much willpower into Anduin as you can, and they're doing that really clean at the moment. These are really clean phase 1 transitions and mechanical executions. We're seeing stars getting ran out left, right, left. Everybody kind of knows where they're going with that. 85.9. So the damage is on point here, and then they just need these big intermission phases. Big funnel into Arthas here, and 8 waves of walls. Just dodge these, kill the monstrosity. That's all there is. That's all there is.
And this type of fight for me is extremely rewarding. Traditionally, if an ad comes out, you gotta burn it down, and then that's it. Whereas this actually transfers over to Anduin himself.
Super funnel, right? I really like it.
So you're actually still fighting the boss at this point. So it's extremely rewarding, and I think this is why a lot of people are really enjoying this boss.
I've got to say, my first kill of this, I had mistargeted, and during this phase, I pumped every cooldown into Anduin himself, not into the Fallen King. Why did I do 9k DPS? Everyone did 30k DPS, and then I realized. So that was cool. Cruella just opening her guild page, see who's online, see if any of her friends want to come to Anduin. Any Andys want to do Andy? Waldy dying, he's really had a hard time during the fight, I have to say. I wonder if there's one thing I'm curious about is actually players have been with FPS issues during this. And I wonder if Wildy's got that retro ass that you see from 2002 struggling. 59% losing someone, that is too high. As Kelly just said in chat, 53 was what Echo got it to. I think around 55. Anything in that ballpark is okay. But, you know, it's still a great practice. We can deal with these first side reflections. This phase isn't too difficult, really. You can just CC them because you have 4. You go 1 by 1 to kill them. You yell at things when the CC gets broken, and then you keep going.
We do have to watch those stars.
Help me!
I didn't see Andy standing in front of the thing there. If a star hits one of the ads, they become CC immune. So that's something else people running out stars really need to watch as well. There's a lot of really cool, interesting overlaps in here that you completely can wipe your raid with. So.
And just coming into this Grim Reflection we're now kind of at the tipping point here. Once we get this down, this is where things get a little bit rough. But this is kind of where I would expect Method to basically build a platform from. So it is very refreshing to see them get back here so quickly, so early in the day.
I agree with you. Now, souls coming out here need to be dealt with, of course, at the exact right time. Should be any time around now. We're going to see one more set of stuns, I imagine. Oh, no, they didn't go off, and a bunch of players died.
It's so finicky in that where Method had it really down pat the first time, but it just goes to show, like, if one person misses their stun, it's kind of GG. Yeah, it's GG and wipe and reset it here. So that's okay. I mean, they're still sort of diving into the same percent that they were last time, and they're going to keep going by the looks of this just for the sake of practice here, because it's a phase 2 intermissions with the Grim Reflections that they struggle so hard with, and it is tough. Like, there's no question about it. People really need to be on point, and you need to be starting. You have to have the damage to be able to wipe that downstairs phase up really quickly while still killing a Grim Reflection, whilst managing the souls to die at the exact time that you need them to. You want them to finish downstairs and be coming out straight away. You don't want them to finish downstairs and then it takes 5 seconds for them to kill the souls up top to transport people back. You need to be on time because seconds really count, and they need to also be able to finish the Grim Reflection they're working on while the group goes down, and then start on the next one just before it's going to die. It's really time crucial, and it has to be really spot on.
And if it wasn't for other guilds already doing this, I would have kind of started to think, maybe it's not possible, but very much we're seeing Method at similar, eye levels of the other guilds as well, so everyone seems to be on an even playing field as regarding eye level. It is possible. It's just finding those, just those opportunities within such a small time frame.
Ammo here.
Yeah, and I think they'll only get one overlap with a Kingsmorn Hunger in that phase. So I think it'll only be the top. I think it's only the one overlap where they'll have to deal with a phase on their own. You'll get an overlap of Kingsmorn Hungers and a Befoul Barrier, and if they can get through that, they're pretty much fine. Because I think this. Actually, no, they'll get 2 because the second set of Grim Reflections spawn just before the Kingsmorn Hunger, so it'll be a group will have to deal with it by themselves each. So a little bit of work to do to be able to get through that, sadly, but I'm sure that's the focus of today. And like we mentioned when we were looking at the encounter graph, if they manage to get into another intermission, you're talking about taking nearly 20% of the boss's health off, so it'll skydive off the edge.
Yeah. Definitely. I just sold my first hoodie, boys. I'm famous.
Oh, hey! Congrats. Did Grandpa one? That's awesome.
I know. There we go. That's already a little bit of money going towards our charity. Say farewell.
That.
Every cent of profit, I'm going to just donate to them. I just
Champion cause. Champion cause. And it looks cool too. I mean, grab.
Kommer du ind, vi havde ved døren her.
I got a couple, so you have some choice, lads. Pink, white, black, or a different pink. More, a lighter pink.
Can we get Stove here, please?
That'd be
production? Cool. Can we get some because what's cool here is you can see Anduin, like, if you think back to, what was his name? The guy at the top of Nighthold that caused all the bad things to happen? Gul'dan. Drew a blank. So old mate had a stacking attack speed buff as he attacked you, and Anduin has that same mechanic for the tank. So you can see the little mutilate logo with 5 on it for Sko at the moment, and that's Anduin's attack speed buff just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So the tanks will be swapping around that, and it's really important as the tanks to make sure that you manage a taunt swap before you go down into Kingsmoor and Hungers, because otherwise the tank up the top will just get absolutely blistered with it. So Sko made sure he held that until he went down, and then Andy up the top will start with 0 stacks, because otherwise you're in for a world of pain. So tanks take a lot of damage here. You can see just how hard Sko's getting hit down here by all the ads and Anduin's despair, but this is a perfect display right here. So they're about to kill this despair ad. They've killed everything down the bottom, all the healers spawn. They don't want to be sitting down here waiting for souls to be killed right now. So that, if you're really analyzing this, that took too long. They need to be killing those, and then they need to be straight up the top. It doesn't matter for this phase. We do lose someone there. I think that was a blasphemy that didn't get paired up. So they're just going to jump off. But in phase 2, they need to finish and be straight back up the top to help with Grim Reflections. There was way too much downtime there.
My question, to completely derail this, because I feel like I've been too well behaved. Does Sko have the nicest eyelashes in the world? Or is it just me?
I've never known. I've never even thought of it.
Well, have a good look now.
I can't.
It almost looks like he's wearing eyeliner.
He's a good-looking rooster, dude. So
he's got very groomed eyebrows. But
he does, but it kind of looks like he's almost wearing eyeliner. That's so hard. Look at mine. Mine's bad.
Maybe he's born with it.
you know what?
It's Maybelline.
Flækker bare zombier. 3, 2, 1, hop! Beautiful. At vi skal prøve at komme over det store hegn. Hvad hvis det er lige det, vi skal? Jeg tror, det er det, vi skal. Men vent lige på mig.
Come on, let's go!
Ikke her. Her. Inden for nej. Måske det ovenover det her. Hvordan kom de dog op? Hvad? Er du sikker på, at det er her, hvor vi kom fra? Du løber der helt alene. Selvom du siger, at jeg ikke må løbe helt alene.
Weapons here. You okay? You're fine.
That wasn't necessary.
Let me heal you up.
Thanks.
No problem.
Nu, selvom jeg ikke må, så gør du det bare og løber selv ned.
Fordi det er mig, der bestemmer. Det er mig, der er kongen.
Watch where you're shooting.
Quit fidgeting and let me heal you.
Ah,
Come over here.
thanks. I owe ya.
No problemo.
Jeg skal da bare skubbe dem ned i vandet. Man skal bare skubbe dem ned i vandet. De kan ikke tåle vand.
Jeg ved ikke lige. Jeg så ikke lige, der var hul i
Jogging.
væggen bagved mig.
Jeg fik bare lige en mavepuster.
Francis!
I'd rather have a grenade, but this will do.
Den her vej. Jeg prøver at få alle sammen igen. Nu kommer der zombiefest.
There's a smoker around here.
Så skal vi vel den vej, de kommer fra.
Den vej zombierne kommer fra, må være den vej, vi skal komme til. Jeg havde ret. Der er endnu en vej her.
Look over here.
Det skyder bare ud i ingenting. Jeg skød bare ud i ingenting. Den vej.
Ja.
Bastards are in for a big surprise.
Jeg tror, vi burde kunne komme derop. Nej, det burde vi ikke.
Se, hvor jeg har lød hen.
Her. Så lukkede du bare lige al hjælpen væk fra mig. Totalt ondt. Og det er mig, der går først. Nu gider jeg da ikke at hjælpe dig. Fordi at du ikke...
Skyder dig nu. Det gør jeg.
Du ved godt, at jeg har en launcher. Du har skudt mig, og så skyder jeg dig.
Heks. Kan du ikke skyde heksen i stedet? Åh, ja. Jamen.
I didn't think you were getting back up.
Jeg har lige skudt den.
Thanks a lot.
Efter at den slog mig ihjel.
I don't feel so hot.
This just ain't my day.
Så ser vi, hvem der har gjort mest skade. Helt sikkert mig.
Sikkert, fordi jeg var død, så jeg kunne ikke
Into
skyde
the
heksene.
hospital.
Ja, jeg har fundet en livting.
Jeg er løbet i safe house.
Den er til dig.
Get in here!
Hold up, gotta heal.
Assemble in the safe room. Cover me. Hunter. Outstanding.
Jeg nåede jo ingenting.
Skulle der ikke stå, når vi alle sammen er inde i sikkerhedsrummet, og så står du bare hele, mens døren er åben?
Jo. Så skal jeg nå nogle ting. Jeg gjorde mest skade på den.
Ja, jamen, det sagde jeg også. Men det var fordi jeg var død jo, fordi du lige skulle hjælpe med at skyde mig. Men teksten bare lige ved siden af dig. Sabotage, mand.
Sabotage selv. Er du glad for, at jeg ikke skød dig?
Men du gjorde det, gjorde du.
Jeg sigtede efter dig. En granat. Ha! Bil. Ha! Tre. Bare i. Exit. Exit.
Done.
Vi venter lidt. Jeg venter lige med at gå derind.
Reloading.
Han blev ødelagt af det.
Okay. Njong.
Watch it.
Njau.
Reloading.
Smoker.
En smokker.
Sabotage. Jeg har sabotage. Jeg har sabotage dig. Jeg sprang den bare i luften.
Piu piu. Det er ikke lige her, vi kom fra.
Got a weapon here.
Nej,
Let's find an elevator. Reloading!
og så kunne vi ikke komme længere op.
Du kan godt gå hjem her.
Exit.
Der er en elevator. Det står i hvert fald på skiltet.
Hvorfor står der exit, når det slet ikke er exit? Pas på, hold afstand til det der rum. Der var ikke nogen. Men der er nogen i det der. Jeg ramte alt andet end en zombie. Alt andet end
I'm reloading.
den der. I. Er du bare med at åbne den der?
Du kan selv være en dør, kan du?
Nu sigter jeg efter dig, fordi at du ikke har blevet holdet op, der sagde du, at du skulle.
Du finder mig aldrig. No!
Weapons here.
Her har vi været.
Og ikke
Jeg tror vi skal nedad.
Nej, jeg har lige fundet vejen.
Jeg har fundet der, jeg kom. Jeg har fundet
Nu tror jeg har fundet vejen.
Jeg har fundet en elevatorskakt, vi kan hoppe ned i.
Kig op.
Back. There's a hunter out there.
Hej.
Nå.
Kom ind her. Det hvis du brækker en ankel der.
Det gør jeg også. Ananasser. Ananalanser. Ananalanser. Banana.
Vi mangler bare dig nu, skat.
Hvad?
Nu har vi ud ned til dig, men vi er på to forskellige etager nu.
Ah,
What is that zombie doing to him? Reloading.
jeg er helt nederst.
Ja, du ved det rigtige sted at være, det er ved siden af mig. Sådan er reglerne.
Weapons here.
5.
Vent lige på mig.
Det er dig, der stikker af for mig.
Det er dig, der stikker af fra mig.
Jeg er bag dig. Du bliver med at løbe væk fra mig. Hihi, jeg ved ikke, hvad vi skal.
Jeg ved, hvad vi skal. Du skal have en bog til hovedet.
Det tror jeg ikke hjælper vores situation, du. Hvis jeg skal være helt ærlig.
Tænk, hvis at vi kom derop. Det er det faktisk også noget med, at vi kommer derop.
Det tror jeg ikke.
Jo.
Jeg tror ikke på det. Det er slut. Jeg kan ikke klare flere løgne lige om.
Jeg tror faktisk, at jeg kan faktisk godt huske, hvor at vi skulle hen. Der var sådan et hul her omkring.
Og nu har vi startet. Nå, så kan jeg jo lige tage en... det kan jeg ikke. Der er ikke mere tilbage.
Der var sådan et hul i en væg, sådan tæt på her. Der skulle vi hen. Jeg har lige fundet en vej. Lad være med at gå den der vej.
Hej.
Jeg tror, vi skal den modsatte vej. Og det der bare var til at forvirre os. Prøv at kigge.
Kigger.
Der er også noget her.
Det er jo ikke den vej.
Men jeg har faktisk også fundet en anden vej.
Hvad er der herinde?
Ingenting.
Der er der en dør.
Og så lukker du alt hjælpen væk fra mig.
Jeg har ikke gjort noget.
Jeg tror, vi skal helt op ad den der trappe, som vi havde fundet.
Ja, men det kan vi bare ikke lige sådan nu godt. Vi skal have fundet en anden vej. Hold op.
Kan du huske, hvad for en vej det er?
Nej, jeg er gammel. Jeg kan ikke huske noget.
Der. Kan du ikke bare vise mig vej?
Bill, might be a good time to patch yourself up.
Så prøver jeg lige at lede efter det. I hvert fald løfte mig og mit lys. Og her. at vi skulle den her vej. Men vi bare havde ikke fundet den vej. Og der er faktisk nogle af vejene, der bare er til at forvirre.
Hey, there's weapons over
Den her
here.
vej. Jeg synes, at det var noget med, at... Ja. Og der er mere, man kan komme her. Nej. Det er tæt på her. Stedet. Jeg prøver den her vej. Der var masser af zombier her, vi ikke havde flækket. Fordi at vi ikke har været der før. Jeg har en idé. Hvad hvis at vi lukker alle de døre, man kan lukke, hvor vi har været? Nej. Ikke. Hvad?
Smoker!
Ja.
Got a weapon here.
Den her har vi ikke været før ved. Nej. Ja. Jeg vidste, det var tæt på her. Op. Hvem er I beskytter her, og så er det, at jeg til nummer 5, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. Fem, 4, 3, 2. No. Er alle syv?
Which one of you jackasses just beat?
Oops, sorry.
Watch it. Out. We got a river. Come on, come
Well.
on, let's go.
You should heal up.
Healing, cover me.
To 28.
Now to the road.
Weapons over here.
weapons here.
Safe house up. Jeg har en motorsav.
Switch near here. Flashlights off.
I'm down!
Can't have you laying around.
Og jeg brugte bare en motorsav lige bagved. Den er vej.
I feel awful.
We can get to the roof through here.
Det var godt nok svært.
Lock that door.
Ah. Ui. Jeg skadede mest på heksen.
Well, this is it.
Jeg er nu bare lidt en på sænkedosen. Den her vej.
Behind you!
Det er bare den her vej. Her, her, her. Hvorfor? Endelig. Og jeg kravler forrest.
This is all gonna be over soon.
Det er kun fordi, at du ikke beskytter dig selv. Jeg har lige fået en ny banan launcher.
Hey, I'm here.
Pas. Jeg kaster granater, imens I prøver at komme herop. Hey. Ja. Prøv lige at komme herop. Her følg efter mig.
Grabbing first aid.
Ammo here!
Check out this gun.
Det tror jeg. Men det er intet problem. Og jeg har den her. Pas på bag dig. Der var lige nogen et øjeblik. Jeg skyder den der, når der kommer nogen. Hvad? Der, ved siden af. Nede ved huset. Den der vej. Kom herover. Men der er ikke kommet nogen endnu. Herover foran. Du burde nok hente de der 2 bomber. Kan du godt hente de 2 bomber? Men hvis jeg har en idé. Jeg henter lige dem alle. Hvorfor?
Bill, use your first aid kit.
Jeg har bare lyst til, at der er en, som der er oppe som en ekstra, hvis der kommer flere. Aha,
There's weapons over
jeg
here.
kan huske det. Vi skulle på en eller anden måde ringe efter hjælp.
Ready. Okay, the
Tag den
helicopter's
anden
coming.
bombe med ild.
Incoming! Charger!
Hunter!
Jeg tror, at jeg lige går op.
Fire in the hole.
Charger!
Look out!
Øp.
Ammo here!
Let me heal you up.
Må jeg gerne?
Reloading.
Jeg er mere den her type.
Watch out!
Du kan ikke se noget. Er det der en zombie? Endelig.
Reloading.
Og den ekstra bombe, der var heroppe.
This first aid
Huh?
will help.
Har du kastet den ned?
Spitter!
Got a weapon here!
Har den ned? Og derfor den er skudt. Vi kan ikke engang finde ud af det. De er robotter.
Smoker!
Jeg tager nok.
Bover! Smoker!
En zombie.
That doesn't look right.
Vil du tage den anden ildstung? Ja? Vil du tage den anden ildstung herover og så flytte den sammen med mig herover? Efter mig. Så henter jeg den bare. Ikke den. Men den skulle være her. Og smide den ned. Åh. Sætter den foran.
Keep moving, come on, keep
Er den klar? Jeg tager ild med, hvis vi nu har en gun, som jeg har. Jeg har en gun, og så er det, at vi bare kan smide den ud over, og så bombe den, hvis der kommer nogen. Bunden. Tak for spillet.
Tak for spillet, skat. Og skal jeg i hvert fald have en pause fra zombie-skydning.
Vi ses i næste video.
Det gør vi.
Og så er der ikke andet at sige end like, hvis I kunne lide videoen. Og dislike, hvis I ikke kunne lide videoen.
Var det det?
Ja.